Alright, how's it going everyone? We're here to check out the monthly update for Rust, and it's not a whole lot of content, but we do have a lot of stuff, and then we have a huge preview into the October update, which is going to be massive. So before we get into all that kind of stuff, we're going to cover a few things on the dev blog. One of the things here is the Tunnel Network visibility layer. And back in December 2022, they put out a feature that would separate above ground and below ground networking groups. And, well, they've had a lot of problems with this, particularly around elevators and so forth. And they have finally completed it. The feature's been put in this month, and hopefully this should help a lot with performance, which is a cool thing. Another thing, errors should be no longer something like this where it's just a bunch of random junk on your screen. It should now say what the actual error is, which is really nice. And as you're placing stuff, it'll actually say what it is. So if you're trying to place a furnace down and the computer station's away, it'll literally say blocked by computer station. Same thing with if you're trying to build, it'll actually go ahead and say you're building too close to whatever it may be. And if you're trying to upgrade, it will say what is blocking you from upgrading it. So that is just something that is very, very nice. And there is a convert if you want to keep them the old way. It's right here, which is something if you want to keep it that way. But honestly, I feel like the new version is just much better. Also, they've been working a lot of localization, which is good, getting things fixed up in all other non-English languages. And then, so here we go, the World Update playtest. So this is what we're going to show you here at the end of the video. We're going to jump onto Aux 2, and we're going to just take a look at the new generation. But there is all sorts of stuff. There's canyons, and better cliffs, and oases, and just all sorts of stuff going on. The legacy Woodpiles are back, and we'll be checking all that stuff out. Then there's other stuff popping up, like the high caliber revolver, a new hazmat skin, and much more. So the high caliber revolver is indeed going to be a new weapon and not a skin. That is very cool. Then with this, we were looking about the October 3rd for that update, and they give some info of how to get on there, blah, blah, blah. We also have Twitch Rivals coming up with Base Invaders. I believe it's Twitch Rivals Base Invaders 2. It might be. Anyways, we'll have a video for this as we get closer. The dates are the 10th through the 15th, so we'll probably be putting a video out the 8th through the 9th for you guys to see that there. Then we also have the Welly Pets and Rust thing going on, so you guys can get a frog boot helmet, basically. And the way to get this is you actually go to Welly Pets, and you go to the link, and you go ahead and buy the real boots. And these go around for about $220 US, seems to be the price they're going at. And they will email you a code to get this exclusive item in game. So that's how that one goes there. They're also doing modding API breakdown, so you can go ahead and read some of that there. Linux dedicated servers are, there's a little update about that information as well. So that's pretty much all that stuff. Let's go ahead and jump in and look at what we can actually look at in game. Alright, so if you checked out my last video, we talked about this, but since it's the actual update and it's here, I want to actually bring it up. There is the accessibilities tab now. So if you go here, you can actually go through and select different types of colorblind issues or other accessibility options here. And they have a couple presets, or you can just straight up just do a custom. And then you can change pretty much all the important stuff, I would say. You've got the markers on the trees, health bar, hunger, etc., team names, monument block colors, the actual red mushrooms on the ground for red, colorblind issues. And then you can also change the laser detector and hollow sight colors. So some people are actually pretty happy about that. You can actually have now a red, blue, or green reticle on the hollow sight. So if we go ahead actually and just grab an AK and a hollow real quick, you will see that it is now green on there. And if we come back on over to here and change it to blue, it is now blue. So that kind of is just a neat little thing. It doesn't really affect too much of the gameplay, but some people might just like that even if they don't need the accessibility options. And then for everyone that does need the accessibility options, it is so nice for that to be here now. Alright, so let's jump into game here and look at our new actual in-game items And basically we have ourselves 3 different things. We have the GCO, or the gas compression overdrive. We've got ourselves the digital clock, and we've got ourselves wallpaper. So these are the 3 new items. Let's go ahead and we're going to start out with, I think, the easiest one, which is going to be the clock. So as you see, it's just a simple little clock item here, the Digi Master Clock. It has an input and then it has a power output. And you can use that power output to do things like setting alarms, have certain things trigger at certain times. You can set up all sorts of stuff like that. And as you can see, to set your alarms, you simply press E, and you can go ahead and set a time for when you want to go off. And then you could also have a general mute alarms button down here at the bottom if you want to go ahead and turn those all off, which is nice. So yeah, it's very simple. As you can see here, it's going to use up 1 power, and they do stack in 10s. If we go ahead and take a look at the crafting, you'll see that it pops up for 100 metal fragments. It does require workbench level 2. And if we go ahead and take a look in the research bench and grab one of these here, you'll see it takes 75 to research. And then if you want to see where it actually sits on the tree, if we go to level 2, you'll see it's right here after the counter. So there it is right there. So with that, we can take a look at the new gun attachment, and that is the gas compression overdrive. So an internal weapon mod which compresses and directs gases to effectively increase projectile velocity, damage, blah blah blah, right? So it's gonna reduce your fire rate by 20%, but it adds 30% velocity plus 20 damage per shot, and it does add 10 recoil. So before we check it out, what guns can you put it on? As you can see here, this is basically going to be semi-auto, the M92, the Thompson, the Custom, the SAR, and the M39. So we can go ahead and let's go ahead and take something that's semi-auto and something that's full auto, and we'll go ahead and pop it on each one there. So you can definitely feel that there's a little bit slowness, a little bit more slowness to it there. Wow, more slowerness, everyone. That's definitely proper speaking there. So let's go ahead and put a full clip in, and so there's that, and that wasn't me holding back the recoil at all. That was just kind of there. And then if we go ahead and check out on the SAR, definitely slows it down a bit. If we look at the stats with it on and off, so I mean, you know, there you have that. How do you guys feel about it? Do you wish it worked on more weapons, you know, etc., etc., blah blah blah. And as for crafting it, if we actually had one on us still, there we go. We'll go ahead and show the research first, which is going to be 125 to research. And if we go onto the tree, you will see that it is on all the way down here after extended magazine. So there's that. It's pretty far down on the tree there, right next to rocket launcher and homing launcher. So that is kind of, you know, its place. And then if we go into the crafting, like I said, we can do gas, and you'll see that it is 10 high qual and workbench level 2. So that's how that one works there. So moving along, we've got our final item, which is going to be wallpaper. Wallpaper is a default blueprint. So if you just type in wallpaper, you'll see it pops on up here, and you'll see it costs you 10 cloth to make one. And by default, you're going to have the vintage colors, and then if you pick up the pack, you'll see all the other ones here. So when you go ahead and decide to craft it, you can pick a default color you want to craft. It stacks by 10, and basically you have an item and it pops up in your hand, and it only works on the inside of walls. You'll notice that if we go on the outside, it's going to say line of sight blocked. So you have to go inside, and then boom, there you go. You placed it. There's your wallpaper. And if you want to change it after it's placed, you can always use the spray can, and then you can also stick it in a repair bench and change it the old school way as well. So by default, there are 4 colors. You've got the vintage blue, vintage red, vintage green, and vintage yellow. And you'll see each one has a little bit of a pattern. You'll see there's the little rust logo or symbol right there. Then we kind of have this little symbol or design on this one. Then over here you kind of have like a fancy pattern, and then up here you've got kind of like a triangular geometric kind of thing going on with diamonds, triangles, and etc. So there are the 4 defaults. Now if you want to go ahead and get the current pack, it's going to give you 22 other skins, as you can see them all right here. And yeah, that's basically what you have there. If you want to see these in more detail, you can go ahead and check out the skin video that I posted just before this one to see all of the more details on that. But there you have it for all those items. So what we are going to go ahead and do is jump onto an auxiliary branch and show you guys the upcoming changes for October. So this is going to do it for this month's update. Let's go see what's coming up, because honestly, that is the big exciting stuff. Alright, so now that we're on Aux branch, we can also preview a few other things. The first thing's going to be the new Hazy skin, which is the Frontier outfit. And man, look at this. This is so cool looking. You've got the feathers that move around in the wind, a fuzzy hat. You've got all of this different stuff going on. The bird skull, a pouch, more feathers. You've got a water bag. Or actually, no, it looks like a horn. Never mind. That is like a actual, maybe, for gunpowder? Yeah, I don't know. But more pouches over here. You've got some raccoon tails. We better start getting some raccoons in games. And then it has this really nifty little backpack with what looks like some more, what are those? Actually, what are those? That snout, they're kind of weird looking. I'm not sure. Are they supposed to be rabbits? They kind of have a long snout. Kind of looks like something different. But hey, there it is. And this should be accompanied with, I believe, a hazmat. I mean, sorry, with a hatchet and pickaxe as well. So far, I've only seen commits for the hatchet, though, so I can't imagine there wouldn't be a matching pickaxe, though. And previously, as I had mentioned, there was the high-powered revolver. That is a actual gun that is coming out. It will not be a skin with this pack, and I don't know if the SKS will be tied to this pack or if that will be a separate skin, but I believe that's still coming in October as well. So as soon as I have more info there, I will let you guys know on that. But let's go check out the new Radtown and then some of the new world. Alright, so here it is, Radtown, and if you played when Legacy Rust existed, this should look pretty familiar of a layout to you. Big Rad, or Large Rad, or whatever you may have called it at that point, and this is just kind of a homage to it. So if we go ahead and bring up the map real quick here and take a look, it's actually called Toxic Village. And this is what it should look like on the map, kind of just a big rectangle. And yeah, this is actually very cool. They've done an amazing job at recreating the space of it, but just really bringing it up to standards. And you got everything from, you know, like sparking electricity, you know, that pops up here and there. If this decides, yep, there goes the spark. And you just have this really nice kind of vibe going on. There's multiple buildings. Now, right now, the loot doesn't seem to be finalized. It just seems like there's some stuff here and there. But if we check out our first building here and you kind of cruise on inside, you'll see there's kind of like, it looks like this is kind of like an office. It used to be maybe like a convenience kind of gas station, repair kind of shop kind of thing going on. You have auto parts and so forth. Then you got a little forklift outside. Then if we cruise to this next building, you can see it was definitely more of kind of like a living kind of thing. It says restricted area. You've got your little table with cards and everything. Then there's like a little, you know, kitchen back here. There's some food sitting around. Then you've got, you know, like a living room, another kind of like storage area, and so forth. And then if you actually cruise upstairs, which the stairs are in the back, there is kind of like a little area you can go into, and you can get into one of the bathrooms, but the rest of the upstairs is actually closed off. There's nothing, you know, really there in it, but you'll see there is a box here. So how do you get around to the box and get in there? Well, that's a good question, right? If you look, this door actually opens. So if you pay attention, you'll see these doors actually all go into separate little rooms. As you can see, this room not so much separate. And you can pick up those loot boxes there. Now, I don't know if, again, that might change. And then over here, we don't really have a building. It's more like a carport kind of going on. And then we're pretty much at the end. And then this brings us to probably one of the more important buildings. Is the Cargo with a K building. And it has some pretty good defenses. If you actually look, this top little layer has these really nice little shooty areas. And I think a lot of people really like that. And then if we zip around, you can see that you can get up from the outside into the top part. And this top part just goes into, there's a locked door, then you've got this door that opens, and you can kind of cruise around here. This will go then take the stairs down, or you can kind of shoot out of there, or you can walk out onto this outside kind of floor that once again connects into there. And then it goes down into this very toxic water, which is actually a new item, which we'll show you here at the end of the kind of tour. You can see there's a little tractor out back there, but you want to pay attention to what's down here. So down in here, you've got a little office and various other things, right? There's a loot box over here for now, but what you really want to pay attention to is when you come into this part with the garage, you want to come into here, and you want to immediately take a left into here, and that is where your recycler is so far. It looks like there's a little food container in there with it as well. But yeah, it's just to the left of the back exit door. Boom, recycler. So that is where that one is. Exit door comes to here. There's a ladder that does go up onto the roof, as you can see. And it seems like most buildings have a way onto the roof if they have a flat roof. You'll also see there's one over here on that building as well. And then this is another kind of like old lived-in building. Not too much really going on, again, loot-wise. So I don't know what they're going to really kind of do with these. We'll just have to see. But it's definitely nice. You can see is a single crate in here. And I think there's also some food. Yep, food box there in the bathroom. Don't know if you want food from the bathroom. But hey, desperate times, right? And then lastly, we've got this big concrete building. Like I said, there's a way onto the roof, but nothing really going on in the roof there. If you come in through this area, you'll see there's like boxes on fire and actually 2 locked doors. So this kind of just goes straight through to the back. You can hop up these containers and get up to the roof there, or you can also take the stairwell on this side to the 2nd floor. Or if you come around here, there's some very, very toxic barrels. And then the upstairs, it seems like everything's locked. As you can see, there's nothing really in it, so it's just kind of like a space to be. So if we go ahead and come on down here ourselves, you'll see that a hazmat appears to be giving us enough rad protection. And if we go ahead and turn off God mode, as of right now, it looks like there isn't any kind of rads going on. I don't know if they plan on adding it, but as of right now, I'm not picking up any radiation. I know that was going to be a question from most people. All right, and I did mention that there is this toxic water that adds a new item, more or less. And so if we go ahead, there you go, and it works with a bucket. You can fill up a whole bucket, and I guess, I mean, right now you can spoil crops with it if you want to. You can also cover people with it, but it used to hurt them. So at one point you could fill like the squirt gun here, and you actually could pretty much just kill people with the toxic water. That doesn't seem to be working anymore, but it does actually, if you drink it yourself, it is going to give you radiation poisoning and do damage. So that is something there. You'll start to lose your food and so forth from vomiting. But yeah, there it is. We've got, you know, toxic water. And we'll see how that plays into things and if it's really used for anything else. But let's go ahead and take a look at some of that new topology. Alright, one of the new other things you'll find on this is going to be the legacy wood piles. So way back when, you could just find piles of wood, you know, fallen trees, leftover junk, basically, kind of thing like that. And it's just like this pile of wood that had a nice amount going on with it. So you see, you get about 1,000 wood from a wood pile. So that's actually really nice. They're pretty quick to knock down. And there are quite a few here in between. Stumps still exist. They didn't replace stumps. That's still a thing. And you'll see, you know. There we go. Yeah, so about 1,000 each one. Definitely a nice little thing to see return for quality of life of collecting some wood early on. Another little change is water wells, and you should see various things like food boxes. So as you can see right here, you can pick up things like, hey, Food Cache has teas and so forth in it, which is pretty cool. And then I believe there's a chance of planters also. Oh, and we've got the trader is here as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and say hi to this guy. There he is. Advanced max health, composter, mixing table, advanced healing, hatchet, planter, and a nail gun. Okay, alright. Cool. And then I'm hearing chickens. Does this guy have pet chickens or something? Or is there just a chicken out here? There's just a chicken out here. And as you'll see, there's a planter down here. It seems like they're usually always corn, but you can get some free corn as well. So yeah, that's a nice little update to wells. You've got the little trading guy hanging out in them. You can get yourself some water, you can pick up some food, and do some more with these. They're not as, you know, just one single thing anymore. Alright, so first we're going to take a look at the map, and you'll just see that rivers actually go through more often. You'll see this one continues, gets wider, goes to here. There's lakes, and lakes are actually marked. So there's Lake C, so you can be like, hey, I live by Lake C. And then you've got, look at this big river, it goes all the way through to here. Look, we got Lake B, Oasis B. There's another lake right here not named. We've got Oasis A and Canyon B. So we've got some cool things to actually go ahead and check out. So I think what we're going to do is go ahead and hit this river in front of us and kind of just follow it a little bit. And as you'll see right now, roads just kind of do this to go over the water, but I'm assuming eventually we'll have like a bridge or something like that. There's been different variations of bridges over the years that we've seen pop in, and you know, I wouldn't be too surprised to see if we see something like that. But the first thing you'll notice is a lot of stuff is more lumpy, there's more hills, there's more craggy stuff. If you look at the cliffs, there's way more areas to jump and so forth, which is just really nice. But these rivers just look stunning. I mean, look at this right here. Definitely very beautiful. And you'll notice it gets kind of rockier, and we're just going to follow this one all the way to the ocean. Just kind of give that full look to it. And there we have it. And now look, there's even like a rowboat right there where the waves are kind of mashing up against it. There's also these new kind of ocean rocks, and I love these because these remind me of the rocks from home growing up in coastal California. These kind of rocks were everywhere, and there's all sorts of tide pools with stuff to check out that are really cool as a kid. And yeah, that's just really fun. And you can see there's more just stuff on the coast. You know, there's splits and there's islands. Look, you got some nodes even popping up on the shore here, and it's just more alive. The cliffs just have a lot more to them, and it's not just these flat surfaces. Now I think people are gonna be a lot happier with this. All right, and here we are at Canyon B, and you can see this one has a higher mountain on one side and then a lower mountain on the other side, and then a fairly thin canyon in between, and then it starts to broaden its way and it just gets deeper. Hey, look at that. And then it kind of creams back up at an angle and up onto the top of the hill. So yeah, this is definitely, it really creates a neat topology you can see the canyon kind of extends to this whole area. You got a hot balloon spawn there even as well. Alright, so here we are over at Canyon C, and you can just see it just starts like this, and lots of nodes around. Yes, you can build down in here. Of course, you know, everyone could shoot down onto you, so that is something to consider, but if you build a beefy enough base, then there'd be, you know, the core could be protected from certain sides on certain areas because of the canyon. It'll be very interesting to see what people do with this stuff. But, I mean, this new generation is so cool. And it just makes very, very unique settings to everything. And I'm really excited to see what people do with this. And then we're over here at Lake C, which is our first lake, and you'll actually see this one actually has a railroad track going right past it, and it's kind of more in this like temperate area, and there's not much really trees or anything around this one specifically. You'll see boats do spawn here, and for depth of water, there's a pretty decent depth in some sections of this here, so you know, that is very interesting to see. You could definitely probably still build a base around here, but yeah, some of the deeper ends may make that complicated, or you know, people have that half underwater base thing going on, which, well, you know, that works here in the lake a bit. And then here we've got Lake B. You can see you've got these exposed stone where the water has ran all the way to, you know, form this old lake. Lots of wood chunks on the sides. You can see this lake has more of a kind of like squiggle shape to it, and then you've got, you know, a short shore with some hills around it, lots of trees with this one. Definitely a very nice look to it, and man, this makes me really hope that we see waterfalls come back, because that would just really tie all this together. Alright, and for our first oases we have A, and as you'll see, A appears to be kind of just like a you know, flat little lake surrounded by palm trees, and if you cruise around you should be able to see one or two maybe barrel spawns, I believe. Yep. Oh, there's more than that. There's some 3 or 4, 5, 6. There's quite a few actually going on around here. They're all popping in now. You can see them out and throughout around the bushes. So that is a nice little thing as well. And as far as it comes to the depth of the water, you can see it's a couple feet deep here. Kind of gives you that view to take a look with that. But let's go ahead and check out the next one. Alright, and here we are at Oasis B. This is another kind of blob lake. It kind of extends into little sections here and there. Lots of barrels, and again, you know, this is not going to be too deep water. You could definitely still build a base in the middle of this, and I can't wait to see some awesome Oasis bases. I don't know about you. And now we're up on Oasis C. Now look at that, how cool is this? You'll see there's some barrels that do spawn. And you've got yourself a nice little desert oasis. I can see a lot of people really wanting to build a base on this. And there's even a kind of semi-flat little starting area there in the middle of this kind of U-shaped... Well, it's more of a squiggle, but it's kind of a U if you look at it from the right angle. And same to you, cargo ship, my goodness. As you'll see, the desert's mostly still very flat, which I think is quite nice for that, you know, big flat base building kind of thing. Alright guys, but it looks like we don't have a Canyon A or a actual a lake, and I believe I've tried to generate my world a little bit and it just doesn't seem to be popping up, so yeah. But we are checking out the snow, and the snow pretty much seems to be the same, kind of like the desert, except for the new canyons and so forth. And another thing that is worth mentioning, there seems to be wandering Bradleys all the time. Since this server just wiped, it's not the end of server, and there is multiple Bradleys wandering around on the regular roads. So I don't know if that's going to be a new change, if they're just testing the pathing or what that is there. But that is one other thing I noticed. There's been a few here stuck there and here and there. So that does it, everybody. How do you feel about the new Prog-Gen? Are you excited about it? I know I definitely am. As always, thanks for watching, and stay rusty.